Do you ever find yourself lacking motivation and never being able to finish what you start, or even starting it in the first place? Well, Francesco Cirillo has an easy solution for you, which he developed as a student to help him organize and be more productive with his time. It is called the Pomodoro technique, which translates to tomato technique. This originates from the fact that Francesco used a tomato-shaped egg timer as a way to help him focus. Essentially, the technique works by limiting the amount of time you have to do something. Then after this time block, allowing yourself to relax and do something else. The most common times used in the technique are 25-minute Pomodoros, which are the study intervals, and then 5-minute breaks. Then after around 4 or 5 of the Pomodoros, a longer break of around 20 to 30 minutes. What do you need to do it? A clock. There are a lot of apps out there that will compete for your time and money. They essentially do the same thing, they just act as a stopwatch. All you need is some way to tell the time, and you can get started with the Pomodoro technique. If, like me, you are susceptible to any sort of thing that is whatever you're not trying to focus on, I recommend getting one of these apps that essentially locks your phone for the amount of time that you specify. Personally, I started using Forest around 5 or 6 years ago, and I found it really helpful. It's a really good way of visualizing your productivity. A bit of self-determination. The hardest part about doing anything is having the actual determination to do it. I say only a bit of self-determination because thanks to good old Isaac Newton and his first law of motion, we know that a person in motion stays in motion unless their phone interrupts them. So basically, get out of bed, start studying, and then you'll find it's more effort to get into bed than it is to stay studying. Of course, do the whole getting out of bed thing after finishing this video. And finally, a goal. It all has to be for something. There's no point in starting your little tomato timer and staring at a wall. You clearly have to state to yourself what you want to do in this frame of time. I personally like to organize what I need to do into a list and spend a Pomodoro block on each of the tasks. If I don't finish it within the time, then I break down the problem into different pieces and do a Pomodoro for each of those. Let's take this for example. You are studying for an exam, say quantum mechanics. You first want to become familiar with the theory for one-dimensional quantum mechanics. Then you want to spend some time on derivatives and then spend some time on problems. We'll put aside 3 or 4 hours for studying today. This means that we'll have a schedule that looks like this, where we have around 7 Pomodoros and 1 long break. It is nice to be able to look at it and see how your time is being spent. We can lay out the topics to study like 1 Pomodoro for theory, 1 for derivations, and 1 for problems. So in total you have 3 25-minute sessions, each with 5-minute breaks, take around an hour and a half. You start doing the first Pomodoro, but realize this might be a bit ambitious for 25 minutes. So you spend that Pomodoro learning 1D potential well and 1D quantum oscillator. Then you spend the next Pomodoro going over the stuff that you didn't get to cover in the first one. So you're pushing back the other 2 Pomodoros, but it's okay, because you overestimated at the start and now you're adjusting your workflow to meet your ability to get stuff done. I'll make another video in the future talking about how to best estimate how long it will take you to do something. Anyway, so we have finished our theory set. If you compare this method to conventional study methods, where you just sit down and try to get through something in one sitting, you can see the obvious advantage in this newer method. For instance, you allow yourself breaks where you can relax and then refocus instead of trying to grind out everything at once, then ultimately getting tired and going on your phone for hours. You're able to manage your time and begin to find out the best way of organizing what you need to do. The increased amount of focus you apply in the 25-minute slots, rather than studying for 3 hours straight, is highly beneficial to your workflow and can speed things up as you have a known purpose for what this time is for. I highly recommend using this technique. Let me know if it works for you or if you have any feedback. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching.